Sir, would you introduce yourself and give us your GOC number?
My name is Averil Johnson, DOC number 609745.
Mr. Washington, you also have several members of your family who are in support today, and I will recognize them. But before that, I want to read some information into the record. Sir, you're a second-class offender. You're currently serving a 12-year sentence for attempted home invasion. You had a parole eligibility date 4/5/2023, good time date 9/8/2028, and a full term date of April 6, 2029. Does that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a rehear, or is it your first time to be heard?
This is my first time.
Mr. Washington, you have now an opportunity to tell this panel why you should be considered for early release today.
I used to have anger problems. I didn't know how to control my anger. And since I've been in jail, I made myself a promise that while I'm incarcerated, that I'm gonna learn how to control my anger. And since I've been incarcerated, that I've been doing a good job at it. You know, I've been in anger management, I've been in case raid, and all of them have things to do with my anger. Crime that over the past 7.5 years of my incarceration, that I reflect upon myself the bad decisions that I made in my past. I understand now more than ever the pain and trauma that I inflict on those who was involved. I am deeply sorry, and I do regret my mistakes. If I had 1,000 tongues, it still wouldn't express my positive. I take full of responsibility and accountability, how my actions affect others and myself.
I appreciate those comments. We have several people who would like to speak in support of you today. And I'll just go in the order I have it on my list. Jessica Washington, your sister, would like to speak in support. This time, Jessica, if you can direct your comments to the parole board and keep it within like 3 minutes.
Hello, how are you doing? I'm Jessica. I'm Edward Washington's sister. I thank y'all for giving me this opportunity today to speak on his behalf. I would like to say that my brother Edward, he's not a bad person. He just made some bad choices at life at a young age. I will hope y'all will show grace and mercy on him to give him a second chance at life, to get out to help raise his kids. We have a job lined up for him if he do get out, and I'm gonna try to help him get in school to try to get his GED.
Thank you very much for being with us today.
Yes, ma'am.
Henry, I'm not sure how to pronounce your first name, so Ms. McHenry, you'll introduce yourself and your relationship, and you can make a statement.
I'm not gonna show my face, but this is me. This is Deonta McCarry. I am the victim. I am his baby mother. Also, I'm the victim. Also, I'm here today to speak on my behalf or giving him a second chance. I'm well, you know the situation, but at this point of time, you know, I don't feel no type of way about him. I believe everybody deserves a second chance. Um, like he said, in the time that he been in there, he had worked on his anger problems. He have worked on the situation that we done been through. No, bye. But right now at this point in the stage, you know, we is in a better place than we was at first. I wouldn't mind him getting out helping me help raise his daughter. Things could be hard, things could be difficult, but at this point, you know, like I said, we better than what we was at first. Like I said, he do deserve a second chance. And I think that he have got his stuff together and he will do right.
Thank you very much for those comments. And then your mother is also Vicki Washington, wishing to speak. Ms. Washington?
Okay. Hi, my name is Vicki Washington, Edward's mother. My son, he's a good man. Can y'all feel in y'all heart to give him a second chance? Everyone deserves a second chance. His kids needs him. He loves his kids. When he get out, make sure he gets a job, and you always will have a place to stay. Just feel it in your heart to give him a chance, a second chance. Please, thank y'all.
Thank you very much for being with us today. Several people who are joining us not wishing to speak. Samantha Brandon, children's mother, Stacy Robinson, aunt, Miss Washington, niece, and Cassidy White, sister. At this time, Mr. Prater, are you prepared to ask some questions of the offender?
Yes, ma'am. Let me ask you, and good afternoon. Let me start by saying that. Before I get into this, on 2/21, you were charged with a discipline of 30D. Just tell me what that is exactly.
An inappropriate relationship. I was on trust leave. I was at work, and I was talking to someone who worked there,
Okay.
and that was an inappropriate relationship.
Well, you got 30 days, good time taken away, and you got 60 days in segregation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was in 21. That kind of bothered me because, that hadn't been that long ago, really. And the rules in there, and you violated the rules in there. So what concerns me about to make sure that you gonna abide by the rules once you get out, because that's so important. That's what parole is. I tell everybody, paroles will give you one more shot at seeing if you can follow the rules. And we look at your history to see you got in 2011 you had an armed robbery, in 2011 a burglary, 2015 a domestic battery, 2016 a domestic battery, and the 2017 attempted home invasion. And those bother me a lot. And so you're telling me that you've taken anger management and those sort of things and cage your rage and that, and you think that's made a difference in you?
Yes, sir. I ain't know how to control my anger.
How do you control it now?
I walk away. I go pray. I go work out.
Okay. And your good time release date's 9/20/28, and your full time's in 4/20/29, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're 31 years old.
32.
32 now? Okay. All right, that's all the. Well, let me make sure I understand this. Inappropriate relationship. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. I was talking to someone on the job. I'm gonna say, well,
Okay, you were on a job somewhere and you saw somebody and you talked to them?
yes, sir. No, we was talking. I was communicating with him. I had a relationship with him.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Mr. Freeman?
I just wanted to note that the DA, the sheriff, the chief, and the attorney general are opposed, and your family are unopposed. And I have nothing further.
Mr. Washington, I don't have any questions that have not been answered in our discussion already. Your history of personal violence is concerning. And I'm so thankful that you have the opportunity to do those classes and programming. That's going to serve you well wherever you are, learning how to deal with your triggers. Is the panel prepared to vote, Mr. Prater?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. Let's go ahead and vote then.
Okay. I think Mr. Washington has done well so far and taken the right courses and all that. I just don't think that when you get a 12-year sentence that's serving slightly over half of it on a serious crime like this, when you have previous serious violent crimes, is sufficient. So my vote is not to grant parole.
Mr. Freeman?
I agree, Mr. Washington. I think you need to take a victim impact class. And I just do not think you're ready right now. So my vote is to deny.
I concur with my colleagues, so unanimous vote. Mr. Washington, you have been denied parole. That's the only matter before us at Caldwell Parish, and so we will be adjourning there at 1:32. Thank you. Great. Sir, would you please introduce yourself with your name and your DOC number?
Yes, ma'am. Averil Johnson, 553543.
Okay. Isn't technology wonderful, Mr. Johnson? Okay, you didn't hear our introduction, but you're before the parole panel, Mr. Freeman, Mr. Prater, myself, Ms. Ledoux. I'm going to read some information into the file, and then we're going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're a second-class offender. You're currently serving a 16-year sentence. You had multiple charges against you. Habitual felony conviction, simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling, possession of cocaine, possession of heroin, aggravated burglary. You have a parole eligibility date, April 23rd, 2024, a good time date, January 5th, 2026, and a full term date, September 17th, 2026. Is that correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, you have an opportunity now to address the parole panel and let us know why you think that you need to be paroled today. Tell us why you're here and why you think you need to get out now.
The reason why I feel like I should be given the chance to be out is because I made a lot of wrong mistakes in my life, but the biggest mistake I regret making is leaving my 3-year-old daughter out there, who is now 17, getting ready to graduate, and the people, the charges I'm on, like I ask the Lord for forgiveness, and I ask them for forgiveness if I can see them too. But I miss my daughter so much. Like I didn't learn so much from this. Like I've lost so much. I'm just ready to. I know I'm ready now. Like more than ever. I'm way more mature. Like I just got everything in perspective. Like I just want to see my daughter graduate and my mother and them, make them happy or whatever. And I know I'm ready. Like it was enough time. It was way past enough time, but like I promise, like I got my mind right now. Like I'm just ready to start working and take care of my daughter and help my mom and my pops while they still on earth. I've lost a lot of people, my brother, stuff like that. But I had all kind of classes and stuff, anger management, living in balance, all kind of sports certificates and stuff. I just ask that if it's some kind of way, like I just be given a second chance for my freedom again.
Well, I appreciate that. Those are some good comments. Mr. Freeman's going to start by asking some questions.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, good evening. How long have you been in jail on this charge?
14 years, 1 month.
Okay, and you had a total of a 16-year sentence? Am
Yes,
I
sir.
correct? Okay,
Yes, sir.
they run concurrent, so you did get a good break when you started, because they were run concurrent, but you have done 14 of 16 years, which is, it was a pretty good bit. Did you have a drug problem? That's what it looks like.
No, sir.
Okay, do you ever use drugs?
No, sir.
Okay, so what was the burglaries for, and why were you robbing people everywhere?
I can't to jail for a simple burglary, a habitual dwelling for one of my friends. Like, you know, when you get married, like, and the wife get to take everything, and I kind of like, it was a stupid decision, like trying to get his stuff back or whatever. But that's the charge I came to jail for. And then after that charge, I regretted everything right there, like, cause I knew I just messed up because I was already on probation. But the other two charges, like the aggravated burglary charges,
All right,
they gave me that as I was in jail. Like, they gave me two extra charges. Like, the next day I went to court. I went to court for aggravated burglary. Then the next day I went to court for aggravated burglary. And those charges, like, I was really like forced to take that, like, cause on one of the charges they had me listed as 6'3", red skinned with goals, and I was forced to take it. I didn't have no other choice because how they was doing stuff.
which means you're forced to take.
Like, I had to take the charge concurrent due to my charge that I came to jail for, sir. The simple burglar or habitual felon. Like, they was gonna give me, I was gonna get time, and I was gonna get extra time or whatever. And when the other two charges came about, like, they came while I was in jail. Aggravated burglary.
Correct, but were you there in aggravated burglary?
No, sir.
So you're saying you wasn't there at all?
No, sir. I was incarcerated, and it's like they clean the books out with you, like, once they have something on a burglary charge, and then if they can't.
You didn't burglarize a lady and take $910 and some marijuana?
No, sir. That's the charge. They have me listed as 6'3", red skinned with two goals. That was clearly not me, sir.
Okay, and the victim says she identified you in a lineup, so you still saying that wasn't you, huh?
No, sir. She said she identified me. She gave a sworn testimony, which she listed me as 6'3", red skinned with two goals in my mouth.
Okay, and the other aggravated burglary, when you they say that you went into a residence belonging to Mr. McGuinn?
Yes, sir. They said with a fingerprint on a joystick. They said my fingerprint was on a joystick.
Okay, but you say you didn't do either one of those?
No, sir. I take full responsibility of the charge because about the charge that I came on, and it was only right that how they came about adding the charges or whatever, because the charge I came on and the Mr. McQuinn situation with the joystick with the fingerprint on there, sir. I got that charge because that joystick was in a car of a friend of mine, and by me being in a car at the time of this charge happening, like, my handprint was automatically going to be on the joystick. So I take full responsibility of that because I know right from wrong from that. Like, and I had a church to still be around that, but I still chose not to. So I take full responsibility of that. But like the second charge, the 6th Street and the red skinned with two goals, I clearly had no knowledge of that at all.
Okay, tell me what you learned from your classes. What about thinking for a change?
Like, thinking for it, I learned that I gotta think a lot more than I gotta have patience with a lot of things, and I gotta think more because I know right from wrong, but I chose wrong, but now it's I just know that I gotta do right from here on out. Like I learned so much, like leaving my family, leaving my daughter, and stuff like that. Like, it was the worst mistake of my life, and I regret that to the fullest. And
Okay, where are you gonna live if you get out?
I'm going to Slidell by my girlfriend in Slidell, Louisiana.
Okay, where you gonna work?
My girlfriend dad has an electric company. Is the electric, I have the paper. It's Taylor Work Maintenance Electrical Company.
Okay. What about this charge back in 2006 for first-degree murder? Why did they think you had committed that?
Because of the environment that I was living in New Orleans and the Saint Bernard, around the Saint Bernard projects. Like I got them charges, they both have got refused, but it's the crowd that I was around.
Okay, you know, and I'm looking and I'm trying to listen to what you're telling me. You say you never used drugs, but you had a possession of cocaine, you had a public drunkenness, you had a possession of marijuana. Possession of marijuana, possession of cocaine, introducing contraband to a penal institution. What was that?
I'm not gonna lie, as you said, I sold drugs.
And what about you had another second-degree murder charge that was refused? What that one involved?
A mistake and identity somebody picked me out of lineup, but the charges got refused. Both of the murder charges, the charges had got refused in 60. One got refused in 60 days, and another one got refused in 120 days.
Okay. I see your write-up. You had the 21E in 2020. You had any other write-up?
No, sir.
Okay, so that's the only write-up you've had since you've been in?
I have previous write-ups like when I first come in 2011, like smoking cigarettes, like you couldn't smoke cigarettes in a located on area like in a jailhouse. I had like altogether like 6 write-ups in 14 years, 7 write-ups.
Not really bad, but the last one was pretty serious.
And I had that's another charge that I got through. I had to do 2 years to get it reinstated off my record, because that's one of the worst charges that I that's something I just could never do. Like I would never, like how I was raised, that's something I just couldn't do. Like it took me 11 years, and then on my 12th year, I catch that charge. Like they threw that out, and believe it or not, sir, the officer that accused me of that charge got fired right after that, like 3 months later, due to 6 other people that had that charge with her. That's just something I can't do right there. Like I respect all females. Like like my daughter, my mother, my sisters, my cousins. Like that's just something I couldn't do. And that's the charge I hated the most. Like I just couldn't catch. That made me cry. That just took everything out of me right there. That's
Okay.
something I never do right there.
Okay, I just want to note that you do have victim opposition. And that's all the questions I have, Madam Chairman. Does anybody else?
Mr. Prater, do you have some questions?
Yeah, sure. Do you know Thaddeus Nathan?
Yes, sir.
And he was charged in the same burglary where your fingerprint was found.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about, I'm trying to figure out how your fingerprint got on a joystick. It's a man's house that got robbed. Tell me about that.
Because the name you just said, Thaddeus Nathan, that's somebody I used to be around, and that's the person that actually went on those charges. That's the person that actually went on those charges. And by me being around him with that game and stuff, like, you know, we used to play the game, and that's how my fingerprints get on it like that. But I know that the gang had got burglarized, but I couldn't see the longer picture. Like 6 months later, I'd be in jail for that same game though.
How'd the game get into the guy's house that you robbed?
No, the game wasn't in the guy's house that I robbed. The game was already in the car that I was in.
But the fingerprints were taken from the residence of the aggravated burglary, it says.
Yeah, that's the same house that Thaddeus Nate, that's the charge that me and Thaddeus Nate was on.
That's right, but how did your fingerprints get in that house if you would never been there?
No, they say my fingerprint was on a joystick, sir.
Well, according to this, it says your fingerprints was in the house, but the joystick was in the car, right?
Yes, sir. I see that now. That's something new right there, saying that my fingerprint was in the house. Like when I first came on that, when I got booked with that charge, they never once told me that my fingerprint was in the house. They told me it was on a joystick, and my lawyer had no knowledge of telling me that. Like it was only that by my fingerprint being on that joystick, that's why I accepted that charge. They never told me that it was in the house, sir.
Well, all I'm saying is that the fellow that owned the house
Yes, sir.
identified you from a photo lineup, and it says exactly fingerprints taken from the scene identify Averil Johnson and Thaddeus Nathan both.
See, they got my paperwork. My paperwork is all the way messed up, sir. I promise you, sir. Like if I can get my legal work and show you my paperwork, you will see different. Like they never, like the victim of that house, they couldn't. They never said that they identified me. Like they never said they identified me in my paperwork. Thaddeus Nathan, he was identified on that charge, but my paperwork was never. In my paperwork that I have, it was never identified, sir. God honest truth, sir. Like the paperwork just all messed up. Like you telling me new stuff right now.
I'm reading from the recap of the police report.
Yes, sir.
You know, it seems strange that you don't use drugs, but you sell drugs. But I've known people that do that, but you sell a lot, but you even get caught with small amounts on you.
Yes,
And
sir.
that seems unusual for somebody that sells drugs. Seems unusual that you run with people that commit these kind of crimes, but you don't do it. It seems unusual to get charged with a first-degree murder and then again with a second degree, and they get dropped. And there's a lot of times they're dropped because of a number of reasons. But I don't know, it just seemed like there's a lot of smoke, and I'm looking for the fire around there, and you're telling us you weren't even at this house. But we don't want to go back over all those. I'm just saying to see if you were there getting out. You're saying you're not even worthy of being in.
Like I'm worthy of being in because of the charge that I came on, and me knowing right from wrong that gang came out those people's house, and I still chose to be around that gang, still chose to be around the individuals that I was around. So I take full responsibility of that, me knowing right from wrong, sir.
Yes, well, I appreciate that. I really do. I'm not trying to be argumentative. Forgive me if I come off that way. I'm not trying.
No, sir. I need this.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom with the information that I have given.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, that's all I have.
Okay. We've discussed your case. If no one else has any questions, is the panel prepared to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman will be voting first.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, yeah, you did 14 or 16 years, but you know, the stories just aren't adding up. It's totally different. You have a terrible criminal history. You have a terrible supervision history. And my vote today is to deny based on criminal history and supervision and victim opposition.
Mr. Prater.
I concur with Mr. Freeman. I think that we need to go ahead and finish this on out to make sure, because I'm just not convinced that something won't happen if we let him out early, and then we'll look like we didn't do our job on the parole board.
Mr. Johnson, after reading your report, I was prepared to send you to a drug program to address any kind of substance abuse, and you would probably get out a little bit early. But since you don't have a drug problem, that would be a waste of time. So my vote today is also to deny parole. So your request for parole has been denied. we have concluded our business for the day and at Tinsall Parish, and we are signing off at 2:01. Thank you, Gary.